Hello everyone, welcome back to Trek Today, to a Trek chat. I'm just kind of tentatively calling that for now. A little while ago, I guess a month or so ago, I did just sort of a casual catch-up video, wanting to talk to everybody, just get out there and communicate with my audience. Is what I love about this channel is just sort of sharing a little bit of my love for Star Trek and having kind of an outlet for that, especially in this day and age when everyone's so busy and everything's so online. You're not necessarily spending as much time, I feel like, with friends and family and just in person talking about this kind of stuff that you enjoy outside of the work environment. So it's kind of a fun outlet for me. It's a big part of why I started this channel, to be able to just kind of reach out there and say, hey, I really like Star Trek. Here's for a couple of seconds or 10-15 minutes something related to Star Trek every day, just kind of bringing that out there and having some fun with people that enjoy the things that I enjoy. So I want to kind of do these a little more consistently, like maybe once a month, once every 2 or 3 months, just depending on what's going on. Just kind of talk about Star Trek and life and whatever. We're in the midst of a bit of a heat wave right now. How are you dealing with the summer heat? I'm not a summer weather person at all. Like, my ideal weather is like 40 degrees and overcast. I love the cold. The cold doesn't bother me. I detest the heat. Anything over like 70, I'm done. And with the heat index yesterday, and like the next couple of days, it's like well over 100. So way beyond where I enjoy. And the high humidity. I hate the heat. Just not a summer weather person. This past weekend, if you're on my other channel, my main channel I've had for a long time, you saw some of those videos. We went to the huge annual library book sale. So check that out if you're interested in that kind of stuff. Found tons of Dragonlance, Forgotten Realms, and all kinds of science fiction books, and some DVDs and whatever. It's always a fun thing every year to go to for all 3 days. And we did have a few Star Trek finds, so we'll go over those individually here. A few things for the eBay store and a couple things to add to our own collection. Found one DVD set. They usually don't have a ton there at the library book sale, but I did find one TNG Season 2 set, the big old silver fold-outs. I really enjoy these. I'm going to compare it to mine, just look at the discs and everything in the case and see which one is in better condition. But that, and Amanda was able to find, my wife, some Voyager books, or the Invasion series, which I really enjoy. The Garden, and Violations, and then two I actually did not have yet in the collection. Number 8, Cyber Song, just one that I've never had a chance to read, and the novelization of Flashback, that really good anniversary celebration episode that Star Trek Voyager did in Season 3. Really like that, so be curious to read the novelization of that. That should be a lot of fun. And these are cool. I want to take a look at these a little bit more in detail, do a video about these at some point, look at them a little more closely. But these children's book and record sets, a comic style book with a read along for the record. I love having the little bit of artwork on the inner ring and stuff. It's really cool. I have a couple of the 12-inch already. Never had any of these, and this one is one I've actually always been kind of looking at just because I thought it seemed fun. So I was very happy to find both of these at the book sale. And take a little bit closer of a look at these at some point. The colors are very vivid, like it's not faded at all. These are really, even like the edges aren't too bad for the most part. These are taken care of, so those are a really great find at the book sale. A lot of fun. And as far as like Star Trek stuff in general, I've been just kind of doing the normal stuff, like just occasionally watching whatever I'm in the mood for, not really doing anything as far as like video games or anything Star Trek related. I'm playing something else that just came out recently, getting a lot of like work done. I've been kind of watching some episodes of stuff while I've been doing some work. And then Amanda and my wife and I, started doing a casual rewatch of Star Trek Next Generation, which I think will be a lot of fun. Just kind of whenever we feel like it, some evening, maybe watch an episode before bed. Over like months and months and months, we'll do that. We've been doing for a long time. I don't even know if I've mentioned on this channel because it was a while ago. We did all of TOS and the animated series together because that was something that she had never done before. Watch any of the shows from like start to finish since they originally aired. And some I know she has not seen. I know she's never seen all of Deep Space Nine or Enterprise at least. And then with TNG, we were very young for the first few seasons, so anything that wasn't a regular in the rerun circuit, I know she hasn't seen. So that's always a lot of fun to be able to share something like that and to be able to see the occasional moment where it's like, wow, and she hasn't seen this episode in 25, 30 years, so it's cool to revisit that. And so I love doing that. Just kind of a casual, fun thing. We just started doing that the other night, so of course, started with Encounter at Farpoint. And that's one thing when I do these videos, maybe I'll talk about those episodes that we watched a little bit, just for a minute or two, kind of to relive that experience and share that with you. It's been a lot of fun. So like Encounter at Farpoint started with, and Encounter at Farpoint I always thought was a really good premiere, and it had so much weight on its shoulders. There's so much, the behind the scenes for season 1 and 2 in particular are really fascinating for TNG, and a lot of the troubles and a lot of those issues made their way on screen. With season 1 I think is overall underrated, but it really is by far the weakest season of TNG and has a lot of problems getting off the ground. But in saying that, Encounter at Farpoint I've always thought was really good at showing that you can bring Star Trek back and showing how it's going to be a little different than TOS, even though there is still a little bit of that TOS vibe to it. And it does a good job of introducing all of our, at the time, main cast and the concepts and what the show is going to be, and all the things that it's not so brilliant with. All the stuff that is a little flawed are things that really are almost always flawed with the premiere of a new show, where you're just getting into the characters for the first time, and maybe both the writers and the actors, or one or the other, haven't quite nailed what that character is going to be yet. And you can see that with a lot of the characters, but it's so typical of almost every show where it's not quite there yet. They're just kind of finding that rhythm, finding their, how their relationships are with each other, the cast both on and off screen, and how they're going to play off each other, nailing down exactly what the show is going to be, the tone, even some of the lighting's a little different, and again, that's just kind of the nature of having that first outing. So I've always thought Encounter at Farpoint was very successful. And then you get into just a string then of not so great episodes. Season 1, we'll get to them. I'll talk about them as we go through here. Some episodes that I think are better than they're given credit for, better than people remember, because season 1 as a whole just has this horrible reputation and does have those few that live up to that reputation. Because then we get into The Naked Now is the next episode, which to me is the worst episode of season 1. The very next episode then is what most people consider to be the worst episode of season 1, Code of Honor, which, but to me, The Naked Now is my least favorite. I dislike everything about that episode. The writing is silly, just nonsensical. I dislike a lot of the choices that are made, and everything about that episode feels so underdeveloped and really not up to par with even the lowest of TNG. For me, that episode I have always thoroughly disliked, and then get right off of that into Code of Honor. It's like, wow, we have a really rough start, because Code of Honor to me, I think the way I've always thought of it and how I describe it is it feels like a mediocre TOS episode. And that's one that I don't even know if my wife had ever even seen Code of Honor before. I don't remember, she didn't really remember, and she had the same feeling when we were talking about it, that it felt like a TOS episode. It really has that vibe to everything about the structure of the story and the way it was played out. A lot of season 1 of TNG has that feeling of being very TOS in some regards, but that episode in particular for me, I don't know why it stands out as like a mediocre season 3 TOS episode. Like, not a good TOS episode, one of the, very lesser ones that has that feeling, and it's just overall mediocre, followed by what I consider to be just a terrible episode. So TNG has this rough start with Encounter at Farpoint. It's good, but it just has those hurdles that you go through in that first attempt at kind of bringing things together. But overall, I always thought it was very successful in setting up the premise of the show and the characters. And then it's like, oh, next episode, not so great. Next episode, ooh, really not so great. Some real issues there. And yeah, I can't wait to talk about the rest of season 1 as we go along, and getting into season 2 eventually will be a lot of fun, because I have some strong opinions about some stuff in season 2. I disagree with a lot of people that say, TNG really starts to get going in season 3. There are issues related to the writer strikes and things in season two we'll get into that hold it back, but man, there are a lot of moments in season two that are like right up there with the best of Star Trek in general. So, but yeah, talking about season one, as we go through and we do these chat videos, I can update you with what we've watched since then. So sometimes it'll be one episode, sometimes it might be like 10, who knows. Just kind of want to do these for fun. I'd love to hear what's going on in your lives, what you've been doing, Star Trek related or otherwise. Just, what have you been doing this summer? For me, I'm on vacation from my one job, so just doing the one, so I have a little more time to devote to filming some Star Trek stuff. Very shortly, you'll see up here, I filmed our entire Star Trek New Frontier book series. For some obvious reasons, we wanted to get into that, and so that'll be coming up, a whole bunch of stuff. Strange New Worlds, I'm going to be doing the same thing I did with the other seasons when that comes out, starting this summer. I'm going to be watching those episodes, and instead of a week later having a super detailed, thought-out, written review and going into every nook and cranny of it that's everywhere, I'm going to do the same thing just right after it comes out. Hit record on the camera and just give my immediate reaction, my immediate thoughts, and just kind of want to hear what you thought of the episode as they come out, so we can kind of, in a way, experience them together without doing like the live stream route. I really hate that because you're not focusing then, for me, on the content that you're watching. You're more kind of, your attention's divided with like the audience. I really want to, when I'm experiencing something for the first time, just delve into it and be 100% focused on whatever I'm doing. And yeah, so I hate the whole like live streaming while you're experiencing something for the first time idea. I don't like that. So that'll be the same starting in just a few weeks here, really, with Strange New Worlds season 3. So we will see how that goes. Hope you're having a great week, and I will see you around in the next video.